I woke up this morning thinking about all of the different changes going on in our world nowadays, and suddenly my old dog came into my mind, and I reminisced about our time together, and I just was filled with so much gratitude, and my heart was so full. He passed a few years ago at the age of 15, but he taught us so much about navigating change and reinventing. So I thought I would share some of his story and his wisdom with you in this short presentation. He's really quite inspiring. I'm Shari Goodwin. I'm a business strategist and a leadership coach and author. I'm also a passionate animal lover, horses, dogs, cats. Anybody who's been following me knows that. And I'm probably Mel's biggest fan. I also specialize in helping leaders navigate change and reinvent and create thriving businesses that they love. And Mel's tips are so relevant to all of us. So I'm going to jump in and share this story with you in this little short slide presentation. So it started, I didn't even know Mel. And back in 2011, I had two dogs, Nikki and Sugar, and they were wonderful dogs. And I just felt like I really wanted to share some of their wisdom with the world. So I created this little program. It was a human leadership program, not dog training. It was intended for the people. I called it Get Grounded with Your Dog, and I put out a little flyer. And some people actually showed up. So you can see an example of the flyer there. And Sugar and I teaching at the first workshop, we used some of the content from my equine assisted leadership program to convey with the people. And we took a walk around the property. We practiced some breathing exercises to get grounded and relaxed and get our dogs full attention. And we had a lot of fun. And I was just following the love. I do that a lot in my business. I just feel very passionate about certain things and I want to share. And if it's helpful for folks in their businesses and their lives, then that's great. But this was just a little trial balloon, and I was following the love and planting some seeds, but I really had no idea. I had no real plan for this other than just to give it a go. So here we were with this wonderful group of folks, and then it actually gained a little steam. And this is before we met Mel, but the next year, the next time I offered it, the first time I offered it, I had invited shelters to come for free and bring an appropriate dog who was not aggressive, who could deal with this. And so the Fakir Humane brought Mel. Now, the interesting thing about this was that I didn't know they were bringing Mel. They didn't even know they were bringing Mel. Apparently, they had planned to bring another dog, and then when she showed up that day, she said, "Oh, this is Mel. So and so couldn't make it, or whatever." I'm like, "Okay, fine." So we obviously had a lot of other dogs there too, and I wasn't really paying much attention to him. But his story was that he had been returned twice to the shelter. He'd been adopted out a couple times. He's a lab and pit bull cross. And I don't really know the full story. I don't think I need to know the full story. But he had been sitting in the shelter for a year. But he came around and he did such a good job at this Grounded with Your Dog. It was really impressive. So his first tip is to be ready to seize a moment aligned with your desires. And he just showed up and he was amazing. And this leads to his second tip, which is enjoy the moment fully, embrace possibilities, and see your best future. So when you're presented with something where you're thinking, wow, that might be fun, or it feels really good. Now, he didn't have control over this, but maybe the universe did, who knows? At any rate, he showed up and he just blended in there. He had a great time. He had so much fun. You can see him jumping over this little cross rail and walking around the property with all of us. And then actually on that right photo on the bottom there, you can see him starting to claim his new space. I didn't know he was doing that. He was not my dog. I had no intention of getting another dog. But I'll tell you what, by the end of that session, I touched his leash. I hadn't even spent any time with him, but I touched his leash, and the energy from that leash of that dog just filled my body with possibility. I thought, who is this? I need more of this. And I just could not get him out of my mind. So that night I talked with my husband and I said, I don't know, I'm stuck on Mel. I can't get him out of my mind. I know it's crazy. We don't need another dog. We had two dogs, elderly dogs at the time. And you know what? We just said yes. So we went, I think the next day, and picked him up, and here's what happened. The next workshop he was teaching. He was co-leading the workshop with Sugar. And so his tip there is fit in as soon as possible with gratitude. Learn and accept new rules as fast as you can and have as much fun as possible. He just fully embraced his new life. He came into the house and he just was so easy. I was a little nervous. He was 8 when we adopted him, 8 years old, and I knew he had a checkered past, but I didn't really know why. And I also don't like to have the labels like that. You know, I always believe in a fresh, clean slate. So I think it's probably better that I didn't know really what was going on because I just treated him just as he showed up that day, and he was wonderful that day. Um, so he started leading these little workshops, and there he is with Sugar. And we had a lot more people the second time, which was really fun. And the tip 4 is when asked to lead, say yes, even if you don't feel ready. Because if you're asked to lead by someone you trust, they believe in you, and you probably have a lot more skills and ability than you may even know yourself. So be authentic as this leader. You can be an imperfect role model, that's fine. And you will make mistakes and you will recover and learn. So give yourself grace in this space. This is Mel's tip number 4. So let's move on here. Oh, so a few years later, I had this crazy feeling. I guess we had lost Nikki. She was 18 when she passed. She had been a rescue that was a chow in the first picture, chow cross, and we had adopted her from the Fairfax Humane Shelter many years before as a puppy, actually. And so she was quite elderly and had passed at the ripe old age of, it was either 17 or 18. It was amazing. And Sugar, my sweet, beautiful angel dog, Sugar, had passed quite unexpectedly at 10 years old from a cancerous tumor pretty shortly after that second workshop. So I was pretty devastated with that and was not ready to get another dog, but there was some energy circulating out there that was guiding me, and I follow that because that's what I do, and I feel like Mel wanted another dog or something. So I ended up over at the Middleburg Humane Foundation and met this cute little dog named Lucy, who had been in kind of rough shape. They had to nurse her back to health she had a litter of puppies, and she was in bad shape, but they got her back together. And so tip 5 here is from Mel. Ask for what you want. I think he really wanted a little friend, a companion. And then when you get it, love it with all your heart. Oh my gosh, he just immediately adopted Lucy and took her on as his just best friend and kind of protege. And it was just so beautiful to watch them. And he always was game for a belly rub. No matter what was going on, he would flip upside down and get a belly rub. So lots of wisdom there. And this was kind of an interesting shot. I started noticing that when you are in energetic alignment, and I see this with the horses and with people all the time, when you're in energetic alignment, it's reflected back to you. So I started taking this series of photographs, and you'll see they're actually in the same shape. You can kind of see them looking out the window and even sleeping in the same shape and in different situations, looking out the same, angled the same. And this kind of mirrors some of that footfall work that I talk about in my work with the horses, when the humans and the horses' legs and feet align. And that happens when they're aligned in the same balanced energy with a clear focus, a vision of what they're supposed to be doing. In this case, these guys are sleeping. And then taking action together in alignment with that vision and that energy. So it can look like anything, but this is what it looked like with Mel and Lucy. And then I felt like Mel was such an incredible dog, and he was getting older. You know, he was, probably 12 or so, and such a good guy. I thought, wow, if he has it in him to train one more dog, what a gift that would be to the world and to that dog and to us, certainly. So we went looking around a little bit, and I again used my own energy to figure out where I was drawn to. And I was drawn to this cute little black dog named Cleo over at the Friends of Homeless Animals shelter. And she was just perfect and came into our lives, and Mel just absolutely accepted her. So tip number 6 is embrace new opportunities to share your greatness. teach others, as he was with Lucy and Mel. Be curious, flexible, and open to change. Share the love, trust, and it may be better than you ever thought possible. Some folks fear change. Mel always embraced change. He was fine wherever he was. Anytime we took him in the car, he would just get in the back seat or even in the front seat in the truck and just roll up in a little ball, and he's good. He's good wherever he was. We take him to the vet. He was good in the vet. I took him to the wineries. He's great at the wineries. We had a family reunion of 40-something people with kids all over the place. Great, wonderful time with everyone. So super flexible and adaptable. Now, one of the things I have to say is that with Cleo was very protective of her space, and Mel didn't really care about space. He was in everybody's space just because he's a happy guy, and he would get in her space and she would have a snap fest, and he would step on her paw by accident and she would jump on him and attack him. So we needed to work on that a little bit, both ways, that she didn't need to feel so threatened, and he needed to give her a little more space. So as a leader, he needed to learn what she needed in order to be able to respect him and not feel threatened or intimidated by him. So there's a lesson there as well. And in this picture, you'll see Cleo with her head on Lucy's pillow. Well, Cleo had her own pillow too. In fact, they have multiple pillows, but she chose to snuggle in right in between there all the time. So it was pretty cute. And then finally, the tip 7 is to leave a positive legacy. Continue to teach, guide, and share the love no matter where you are, even in spirit. Love is eternal, and that's what came up for me today. Was just I felt motivated and inspired to share his story with you. Even though he's been in spirit now for several years, he still has a huge amount of wisdom to share, and he's very, very present with me all the time as a leader and as my friend. So I hope you'll think about those 7 tips and be able to incorporate them into your own world, into your work world, into your life, and hopefully your life will be as good as Mel's. I wish you all the best of success. Thank you so much.